Hear me clearly. America is not a racist country.
13%. Hey, are they allowed to let these little take threats?
You need to address, well, first of all, no, I don't think America is a racist country.
God, I love it. It just shows how violent they are at a young age.
This video has been brought to you by racism. Racism is wherever true Americans are.
Perfect.
Where's your walk around this? Where's your parents? Hey, are they allowed to let these little take threats? They're making threats. Can you arrest them? Please arrest them.
They have to.
Hey, stop making threats.
They have to accompany through town. Everybody.
Future engineers. Future engineers hey, you guys are the future engineers.
No,
Future engineers have to get escorted because they're so violent. Yeah. You got a light brain, bud.
God, I love it.
It just shows how violent they are at a young age. Your frontal lobe is 2 ounces lighter, bud.
The thing I want to start off by addressing is the fact that you had all of these men that were there, right? They could have been clear-cut doing their chants, minding their own business, but they decided to take time out of their busy day and wanted to start verbally going after some black children. And looking at the black kids, it looked like they were selling water at a place or somewhere, maybe on the other side of the street. I'm not sure, because they were carrying the large buckets. Normally, those large buckets are either for candy or they are for water, or maybe even both. So you see the kids walking across the street, and then they start turning their attention directly towards them and being so brave and mighty, right? The champions of champions. And they started referring to them and calling them a great deal of things. And those words were obviously blurred out. And for the life of me, I'm just trying to think to myself, I'm like, why? Now, I see where people want to throw tit for tat, right? When somebody is normally doing something, right, or saying something to them, but you're dealing with kids that had nothing to do with nothing, wasn't causing no type of trouble or anything like that, weren't even really even paying attention to you. But yet, as the men that you are, some of these dudes are obviously in their 40s, even possibly their 50s, obese, overweight, right, nearing that dark door. And they decided to put all of that energy to go after these kids. And this is when I continuously try to state to a lot of people out here that you have a lot of women out here that will decide to date men like this, knowing that this is who they are. And I want to remind people, a lot of these guys, when you see them wearing the stereotypical, they want to wear those shades that you normally see, the bright colored shades. Like I said, they have a look. They have certain clothing that they wear to let you know who it is that they are. For whatever reason, people are not paying attention to it. And the types of clothing and the things that they use and wear, it moves from year to year to year, right? But even though you have videos like this out here, you will still have women of all varieties that will decide to date any one of these guys. Even if it is not in their best interest, they will still go out on a limb and date these type of guys, and then wonder why it is that people are looking at them sideways when they see them in social media or when they see them in real life, or why people are making certain types of comments. But like I said before, women are free to date and be with whoever it is that they want to be with. At the end of the day, if you decide that you want to endanger your life, if you want to break apart everything that you worked so hard for just to be with a guy like this, by all means, have at it. Knock yourself right on out. Because if you don't, they will. The other thing that I want to note to people as well is the fact of the police. And this is something that Black people have always stated when it deals with America. Notice how none of the cops there spoke up for those children. They know that those kids can't defend themselves against grown men. They know that they can't, in a sense, really defend themselves tooth and nail versus the verbal onslaught of wording and derogatory and slurs that they want to sit up there and use. Not one of those officers that are of the exact same community as those guys, those true Americans right there, right? Because this is America. I want people to understand this is the representation of the American man. And I'm talking about the dominant society. This is that representation. I don't care what nobody has to sit up there and state. I don't care if people want to refute it. I don't care if people want to have an argument. You better argue with yourself, your priest who is out here going after your kids, and argue with God. Because it ain't going to happen with me. Because like I said, we have videos like this time and time again. And if we don't have the videos, I got books to back up what it is that I'm talking about. So it don't even matter to me. I already know what it is. I'm just educating everybody else on what it actually is. So again, the cops were there. They didn't do anything. They stood up, but they stood down. The only thing that they did was like, oh, we got to do our jobs, guys. Let's just formulate this barrier. All right, you kids, don't touch me, but make sure you just walk in this line. Let's, just follow a bird up there, and everything will be fine, right? They didn't say nothing. They didn't say nothing, not one word. They didn't utter a sentence to try to shut them down. And this is the type of America that we have. Right? Where you have grown men that can decide that they want to verbally go after somebody else's children. Now, mind you, how many times have you ever seen groupings of black men in suburban communities, sundown towns, deciding to do this exact same thing? Sitting up there talking about, you're not going to get rid of us and all. Where? Where does this happen? Where does this happen? Where? Because this is what I tend to see whenever these groupings get around each other. And like I told people before, and like other people have said before me, notice how brave they are when they're in groups, right? When there's a great many of them and few of everybody else, look how brave they are. Look how they stand up with their chest poked out because they're really showing the world that they're manly men and how it is that they go after kids. Look at that. Look at that. It's crazy, isn't it? It's insane that this is the proving point. But notice that these same men would never go into areas such as heavily black areas, like in O Block, right? Heavily black Atlanta, areas of Detroit, heavily black neighborhoods where people know that things go on and happen. Notice how these guys don't decide to go into those areas. There's a lot of areas that they will refuse to venture into because they know what it is, because even their comrades, aka the cops, their brothers, their sisters, their families, their fathers, their mothers, their aunts, their uncles, their grandfathers, they won't even venture into those areas. So how strong realistically, how brave, how bold realistically are these men if they decide to just establish themselves in these multicultural safe zones? What happened? You used to be the conquistadors. You used to be going all over the world and conquering, as they say, right? But the funniest thing is, no matter how smart that they say that they are, the only places that they've conquered were places where people already were. You haven't really heard of them, in a sense, conquering something brand new. Like, what about, the moons of Jupiter, Saturn, out there in space to spread your wisdom, your might, your religion? Why don't you go out interstellar, right, through the galaxy in the universe to establish how mighty you are? But yet you can't, you won't, because you know that you're scared, you're afraid. So you would rather try to establish yourself in places where people already are. You want to establish yourself where there's already comfortability, because you know it's easier for you to go at people there versus trying to go at an area where you yourself would be uncomfortable and unsafe, where you know that the police won't be so quick or readily to respond if you make a 911 call for help. Like I said before, this is completely crazy to me. And the other thing as well is that you have these people talking about, hey, we will not be, moved, or nobody's going to replace us. But yet why is it that you just don't go to Europe? I'm a little bit confused. You can go to the Caucasus Mountains, go over there to Europe, and you know, and all of those places over there, and you can be amongst people who look just like you. But the problem that they realize, and the problem that I guess a lot of other people don't know, is that the same beliefs that they have, the ones over there in Europe don't see eye to eye with the ones over here in America. And the ones in Europe will actually fight tooth and nail the ones over here that are in America, because they're like, yeah, you are not like us at all. Like you are over here. You're not even, as they would want to say, full-blooded or 100%, whatever they want to sit up there and call it. So there will be a lot of discrepancies. There will be a lot of problems. There will be a lot of fights that would realistically take place. And these guys here are not ready for those type of battles at all. Because remember, at the end of the day, no matter how strong or how mighty they may seem at this moment in time, the real battle that's going to take place with them is going to be a self versus self. Historically, this is the way that it's always been. Because the funniest thing is that they always want to state this one main thing, like my great great grandpappy told me that there was going to be a war in the United States, and we gotta be prepared to sit up there and fight for tooth and nail for da 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 da. Right? That's the main speech that they always want to give themselves to hype themselves up. Because again, they don't have anything else to actually run off of. They don't have happiness. They don't have joy. They don't really have a type of camaraderie. They don't have a type of family. They don't really have that. They have the whole thing of loathing, of hatred, of disliking, of wanting to destroy, of chaos. That's where they really come together. That's where they really bond. As stated before, and I'm going to restate this like a broken record, once they are done with everybody else, they are going to have to cannibalize themselves. That's the way that it's always been, and that's the way that it's going to be. That's the forever, never ending tale, because they refuse to learn. They refuse to understand. They don't want to stop their ways. They think that they know all is right, all is better. They think that they are God of creation. And they are going to understand that the reason that the previous gods no longer exist is because, number one, their fellow believers, the people that worship them, no longer believe them. So part of that power is gone. And number two, the gods started to become jealous and envious of themselves, and they started a war amongst themselves and destroyed themselves. This is how a lot of civilizations collapse from within. So as in the past shall be in the future. So a lot of these quote unquote brave men, they're going to be the main ones causing the utmost destruction in the United States. This is why they gave you several movies like Civil War. None of that had to do with black people deciding to cause any type of chaos in the United States. It dealt with them. The funniest thing is this will happen a lot quicker if black people in the black community would actually get together. But that's neither here or there, because too many black people in the community talk about, oh, we're not a monolith, we are not a group, I'm an individual, and so on and so on. So as individuals, individuals will fall. That's what's going to happen. Because the moment in time that you don't have a group that is able to back you up, you don't have numbers, it's going to be very easy. It's going to be very easy to take you down. And that's the main thing that a lot of people don't seem to understand. There are power in numbers. Not saying that you need everybody, but again, there are power in numbers. And with those numbers, you will also have protection. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I stated in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.